It's always a second before you think.
We are live. Hello, cheers.
Cheers. Hello.
Hello, welcome to Dating Real Talk. I got it right this time.
Yeah, thank goodness. What was on your mind last night?
Oh my gosh. Well, there's no bloopers that we can edit out like we did. Well, we saw that in the Golden Bachelor.
I loved those bloopers.
I'm Kimmy Seltzer. If you don't know me, I'm a dating strategist, confidence therapist, and image expert. And I help people look and feel their best so they attract what they want. And over here, I have my co-host.
I'm Allison Melody, and I don't have an elevator speech today, so I'll have to come up with one every time we introduce the show if we're going to be actual professionals now.
Well, we still have to tell people who've never watched this who we are and why we're here. And this show is about reality TV and how that intersects with real life situations. And I am here to give real life dating advice around things that come up. And you, Missy, are Miss Pop Culture Queen. So that's why
I'm just giving the hot takes on the pop culture because that's most of the content that I do consume.
Yes. Well, and I love the marriage of the two because it's forcing me to watch a lot more shows and understand like what people are getting so enthralled about, but also to let people know these are just shows and where it shows up in real life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've done a good job of that so far.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm so sad. It's like a bittersweet thing that happened last night. So just to recap, we actually went live yesterday. We were at a Golden Bachelor finale watch party. It was super fun. And we had a surprise guest. Her name was Christina Kempton, and she was one of the first contestants in the first season.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to not only hear her perspective on the show, but also like issues that she was having with dating. And she even had a breakthrough
while we were there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really exciting. So anyway, that was what happened. And we wanted to still come on because there's so much I wanted to say after watching it. And this one's over here. Don't say anything. Don't say anything.
Well, I didn't want to know your take before we came live because I wanted it to be fresh. And like, I didn't want your take to influence my take. Because then if I thought about yours, I'd be like, oh, she's right. So I wanted to have our own unique perspectives before.
And it's fresh.
Yeah. So it's fresh and new and we haven't talked about it yet. So even though we watched it together, we had our reactions together, I still don't know exactly what your take and thoughts were. And you don't know what mine are yet.
I know. Which makes it even more organic and authentic conversation, in my opinion.
Yes.
Well, and we had some predictions last night.
No one's predictions came true.
No one's. Well, I think aspects of each of ours came true. So that's what I think. That's what I want to dissect is like what really happened and what could have happened too. So there are spoilers tonight in case you haven't seen the finale. So just push pause and then obviously pick up later after you watch it, unless you want to just skip it all and just hear what we're going to say.
Yeah,
which is
we're pretty interesting.
I know. Okay, well, where should we start? Do you have something?
Yeah, so I can kind of take us through where it started. And so we opened up and basically Cindy and Mel are on the tail end of their fantasy suite date. And you think what happens next is that they get to be off camera and spend a little time together, just like he did with Peg.
For fantasy suites.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, or is that what it's called? They're on vacation, whatever.
Yeah, but then when they go to the fantasy suites is when they really like talk
and
do whatever else they want to do.
Yes. And so we were waiting to find out what happened.
Yeah.
Well, here's what happened. She really asked like, okay, like, where is this going? What's going on? And he says, if there's a will, there's a way. So she's like direct. She's like, all right, so is there a will? Like she wants to know how this man is feeling. And he's like, yeah, of course. But, it's difficult. It's a difficult situation. I have to choose between two people. And my heart tells me I like you a lot. But he's not ready for a proposal. And he's probably not ready for a proposal for at least 2 years, he says. And Cindy cannot believe what she is hearing. She is shocked. She's like, why did this man come on the show where you're supposed to get a ring in the end, right? And, she's like, this guy isn't that into me. She says, I want my man to feel like, oh my God, I can't live without her. Like, I want to be struck by lightning with excitement for her. And she doesn't feel that from Mel. So what did she do, Kimmy?
She walked away, to everyone's surprise, or not so surprised. I don't know. They were kind of editing it to like that could be a possibility last week, but I didn't know that it was really going to happen. I thought then we'd see like another take where he went and chased her or something like that. And that, right. So the fact that she really walked away.
And I think all the romantics in us wanted him to go and chase her.
Yes.
But he's not that guy, A. And B, I think, this is my putting my therapist hat on, I think that the trigger for him there was, if you leave, I don't chase. He's already been left. You know, we know that he got divorced and supposedly she left him. So he's been left. So he's like, I don't chase. You made your decision. You made up your mind. That's what I think. This is my opinion and conjecture. I think that was a trigger for him. And he was like, no, I'm not going to chase her. She made up her mind.
Yeah.
And then he continues to say like, well, she didn't stick with it. She didn't stick through it. She's over there crying. Like, it's so sad. And then freaking fireworks are going off because this is supposed to be the moment where they're like having fun and getting, I'm like, someone call the first AD and be like, cut those fireworks. Like,
I know, that was odd. Actually, it's so funny. I had the same reaction to that. Like, why are the fireworks still happening?
Yeah, someone cut the cord.
Well, as a production side of things, of course you would see that. So
yeah, first AD is like, all right, y'all. I don't think, maybe they kept it in for the drama. I don't know. Like the sadness.
Definitely. Yeah.
The juxtaposition of that. So then Jesse Palmer enters. He's the hot bachelor. He's the host, and he's so much more interesting to me than Mel. What do you think about him?
Well, he's better to look at for sure.
Better to look at. And he's a good host. I feel like
I know he's a good host. And I got the scoop last night from Christina that he really is that guy. Like, he's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's always nice to hear and validate what you see and what you think.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I really liked him too. So Jesse's like, sorry, man, how did this come about? And Mel's like, she's looking for a husband. They all are. Why do you think you're here, Mel? Was my reaction. Like, and also that wasn't how she expressed it. She was just like, I want to know this is going somewhere. It's like, she wants a husband tomorrow. And it's like, I think that's what she said. What are your thoughts?
I have so much to say about that whole scene, but keep
going through it? Okay.
And I want your reaction.
I'm giving them to you play by play.
But you're describing it, but I want to know, like, did you like agree with her? What do you think about Mel's reaction? Like, I want to know like your thoughts on it.
Yeah. So let's see. So Jesse's like, she wants to get engaged in a couple of days and you're not ready for that. And he's like, anything can happen. I want to find someone to spend my life with, but it's not necessarily marriage. So then Jesse's like, well, Mel, like all 23 women, they kind of came here expecting a ring. And Cindy had also said, there's a ring in the logo of the Golden Bachelor. Like, it's like, why is this so surprising to you, Mel? Like, I will give it to Mel. Like, he's not lying. He is saying this is what I want and what I don't want. So thank you for not lying. But also, it just shows that he was a bad pick, because what are you going on the show for? Like, I agree that like marriage doesn't have to necessarily happen that fast, but he seems very anti-marriage, and we'll see what happens in 2 years. And it's like, that's not why all of these women are here. And so Jesse's like, all 23 women, they showed up thinking like, I'm going to get a ring out on the end of this. And Mel was like, that's not true. Not all of them. And so he's immediately defensive. And Jesse's like, well, are you falling in love with Cindy? And Mel says, maybe. So I think he's being honest, but again, it's like all the hopeless romantics in us are like, good God, man. Like,
I think, right. Like, I think people got angry because of their own like desire to see that happen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, because I was talking to the ladies last night, including Christina, and it's like the Harlequin romance and, of my day, where people would escape in these like romantic books, and we all want to see the white horse and the prince and ride off into the sunset with them, you know? So I think there's like a disappointment that everyone felt for sure. But, okay.
So America's disappointed. We're all disappointed. Jesse kind of defends Cindy because after that, he's like, listen, man, like, I think, she deserves the honesty and she's protecting her heart. And we're all like, yeah, exactly. Like, Jesse, you're so understanding. Like, why can't you be? I know he was a bachelor, but I guess he's happily married. But I'm like, oh,
you're just too late. I know. We'll have to find another one.
Yeah. And then he's like, Mel gets defensive again, and he's basically like, she didn't play the game. She didn't play full on. Like, I would tell my players, don't give up until the game is over. And he's like comparing it to a game. And like, I was like, big eye roll. I don't know what you were, but so he's like, she wasn't in it for the long run. And Jesse's like, yeah, it's tough. And Mel actually yells at Jesse. He's like, Jesse. Like, she left. And that goes back to my point. Like, he was so triggered by her leaving him that he's like, I don't chase. I don't chase. I'm not going to chase her. And so, again, let all the hopeless romantics down. And then Jesse says, Mel, she's still here. He had the opportunity again to go and chase. And what did he do? He did not chase.
He did not chase.
And then, they cut to commercial, but then we find out that we're back in the studio, and Jesse says, like, all right, find out. Here to talk about it is Cindy. So as soon as Cindy enters the stage, I think we all knew that the man did not chase.
Yes. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts so far?
I mean, this is a good play-by-play.
Yeah.
I still want to know your opinion.
I just gave you my opinion on every moment.
Okay. I guess what I want to know is underneath it. I know there were some reactions. You had some feelings about like different things, like the eye roll and blah, blah, blah. Do you think that Cindy did the right thing?
I think absolutely she did the right thing for herself.
Okay. And what was your opinion on what, like, for Mel, should he have chased? Like, do you think he did the right thing?
I think that if he wanted to, he would. So I think he should have if he wanted to. And if he didn't, which I don't believe he did because he didn't, whether it's a trigger or not, then he shouldn't have, because even though we all want at-home romance, we also want the truth. So at least he's not lying.
Yeah. And do you think that he intentionally went on the show knowing full well that he never really wanted to get married?
Probably. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Because actually, I'm not sure how to answer that, because there were times, and Cindy points this out later when she's in the next part that we're about to go over, but she points that out and she says, it was a surprise because he was like, I think my future wife's in this room, to all of them. So he's either lying then to give them false hope, or it's like you said, and he may not have known, he would go in and change his mind that he didn't want a partner.
Okay. Do you want me to say my opinion
yes.
on all this? Okay. I was just waiting.
I've been waiting.
Well, I wanted to go through that whole Cindy scene,
yeah.
and then like kind of break it down.
Okay.
And,
let's break it down.
Like, we saw what we saw. And I mean, I reacted to the same points you did, right? But I think for different reasons. And so this is where like communication really breaks down between two people. And I see this happen all the time. When I was a matchmaker, sometimes like, somebody would come back on a date and they would tell me what happened, and then the other party would, and I'm like,
they are speaking two different languages.
I'm like, were you on the same date? And it just shows you there's so many layers. I mean, there's communication. We all have different triggers. Like one person, and I said this at the retreat, I don't know if you were there, but like one person can say one thing to one person and they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
And that person could say the same thing to another person, be like, you asshole.
Yeah,
Like, so what does that say? It means that we all come from different places.
Yes.
And we all come from different triggers and trauma.
Yes.
And so I think that was exactly what was kind of like unfolding in front of us. And that, most people that I work with who are dating later in life go in and they'll be on the call with me thinking that they want a relationship. And by the end of my conversation, as I start like dissecting things, they're like, Kimmy, I don't think I really do want a relationship. I just want to have fun. I want to get my sexy back. I want to just learn who I am and reinvent myself. So I think we saw the reality of that unraveling throughout the show. I think everybody wants to find love. I think everybody wants to feel connected. I think everybody has that vision of the white horse in the sunset. But how you get there, I think often is a miss.
Yeah.
And especially if you've never really had dating experience or you've given yourself enough time to get to know yourself in the process. And it was so clear to me that Mel does not have a lot of access to emotions and how he's feeling. He is ruled by the analytics and facts.
Yes.
So the reason why he was so hell-bent on having that conversation and finding out from Cindy, like the facts, rather than going with how he was feeling. And Cindy is opposite. She's like, Mel, I want to know how you're feeling.
Exactly.
I just need to know. Just give me something that shows me that you feel something from me. So they were literally talking two different languages.
They were absolutely speaking different languages. And she says that later. And you know who else said that later was the woman from college. She was like, I forget her exact words, I'm gonna misquote, but she basically said they're both lawyers. He leads with his analytical brain, or something like that, not his heart, not his emotions, but they're in there somewhere. But that was absolutely so clear that they are coming from two different places. And he does seem very emotionally unavailable to tap into his emotions, doesn't know how. And maybe that's why his ex-wife left him for a woman.
Oh my God. And so we go there. Well, there's just so many reasons. So I mean, and I'll just be honest, a lot of clients that I work with are like Mel. Where they have a lot of trouble accessing emotions and they rule by the left brain, which is the analytical brain. And it was funny because like you were playing back the episode just now before we went on, and I was listening to it. So I was like hearing things differently than when I was watching it last night.
That's so interesting.
And I forgot the fact that he's like good at math and he's like, he has all, like, that's the analytical mind. And when you rule decisions and make decisions in an analytical and cerebral way, it can really bite you in the butt because he's trying to figure out that was his whole thing. I need more time to figure out things.
Yes.
Okay, now that coupled with the fact that he has been hurt. And so we have a guy who doesn't know how to access feelings or express them. And then on top of it, got hurt. He is completely the guarded heart. Like guarded. That's the hidden love shield. I talk about hidden love shields all the time. And so because of that, he's appearing to the audience and to Cindy like he doesn't care and he's an a-hole.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So
behind every a-hole is love shield.
Well, not always.
Sometimes
there's narcissists who don't have any. That's a personality disorder,
and that is not Mel. No, I would not call him a narcissist.
No, I think because I work with these kind of people all the time, and they always get misunderstood. It's like, well, they're not emotionally available and he doesn't care. And I think Mel cares. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to show it.
I don't think he's a bad guy.
This is why he's really into spirituality. This is why
he's looking for something.
He's looking to feel. And I will go so far to say that is probably why he wanted to connect in the fantasy room physically, because he wanted to feel something. I see this often with people where they're looking for the physical connection and to access the emotional connection. So there's my psychobabble analytical kind of assessment of what I was seeing kind of happen with Mel. But it was interesting being at the watch party, seeing everyone's reaction, including a man who was there. And he, like, if he could throw tomatoes at the screen, he would. He'd be like, I hate that guy. Blah, blah, blah. Like, so it's just interesting just how that plays off to people. But, you know, clearly, I think you said something really interesting because he had a chance to chase. You're right. And he didn't chase. But I think he's so scared of going after something and then having it not work out again.
That makes sense.
That he's like, and because the anger that I started seeing him, like, I am not doing this again. This is not going to happen to me again.
That is like, the trigger. I saw that too.
That's what I saw in his anger.
I saw that too.
It wasn't so much, well, she didn't do, like, his words were like, well, she's not playing full out. But that was to cover up his fear.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I could tell. I mean, my assessment is very similar to yours in the fact of, like, he had a past where a woman said, we're done here. And so he heard that, we're done here. And he said, okay, because I'm not going to go through that again.
I'm not going through that again.
Yeah. So that's totally understandable. And I wish that he had a more open heart. And if he wanted to go and chase her, he would have.
So let's talk. I'm going to talk about what he could have done, and also now Cindy's part too, because it takes two to tango. I saw flaws in both of them, honestly. And so if Mel had communicated his feelings about,
she would have been like, oh, I get it now.
Like almost like, I want to say that I want to commit to you, but I'm really scared. Like this stuff happened to me. And
then you'd be like, okay, honey, I understand.
Exactly. This is the breakdown in the communication. And this is where then people are like, what an asshole. This is the knee-jerk reaction. Now, Cindy, on the other hand, Cindy could have been a little more open in the way that she could see things. And it's not her job to be a therapist. And she obviously has been through it. And her kids were very protective of her. So I think I almost could see that she had her kids in mind. Like, Mom, I'm a little bit concerned. Because remember, the kids were concerned.
Yeah.
And I think now she's like, I'm going to protect Mom, like Mama Bear is protecting herself and her kids. And so she played hardball last night. Like, and I'm not, I think she did the right thing for her. But I also wonder if there was some flexibility she could have done and helping Mel communicate what she needed to. Instead, she was just kind of being accusatory. Well, I need to hear this, and I need to do that, but da. Like, there's this like kind of like.
I didn't feel that way. I felt it was I feel like she approached it with so much grace. So it wasn't that I need. It was more like, yeah, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I need. But it didn't. I think he received it that way.
Some of the words she chose came across that way, which I think triggered Mel.
Yes.
Like, totally. I think she could have used different words. Like, I teach people all the time the I feel message. Instead of like, you need to do this, or I need to hear something from you. Instead of saying, I'm feeling scared, or I'm feeling confused that I'm not hearing something from you. Like if she softened it and she knew how to communicate what she was feeling, I think the result could have been very different. Now, in the end, it could have been the same. I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think he felt stronger about her, which is why his reaction was so strong.
Yeah. So I could argue this either way, because I also think if a man wants to, they will. Now,
I don't think he knows how.
Now, we did go over the fact that he doesn't want to because of what happened to him in his past. Yeah. So if that's the only thing holding him back, then that's really unfortunate, because you and I both thought he was going to pick her. Had she allowed,
everyone saw it. Like, a lot of people saw it. Peg is just safer and easier, but
Peg is a blast.
Yeah, Peg keeps it fun. She keeps it casual. She keeps it light. That is so much easier for him.
Yeah. It really is. So it's like Cindy, almost, if they were in a relationship, would challenge him more than I think Peg ever will.
Absolutely. So I worry about Peg and Mel in the long run. Yeah. I think it's fine now.
Yeah, I think they're adorable.
They're adorable. I still maintain they have this kind of brother sisterly, playfully kind of like interactions between the two of them. Did you have anything to say about Peg? Because we didn't really like go play by play with Peg.
I know. Okay, let's see what else I have here. Well, there was more stuff that happened when we were just sitting there with Cindy and Mel. First Cindy, and then Cindy and Mel reunited, and there was a lot in there. Do you want to go over any of that before we go to Peg?
Sure.
Okay, so let's see. So Cindy, says, I would have been all in if he had been. So that's unfortunate. But she said Mel was not in it for the same relationship I was. We kind of went over that, how the miscommunication, because I think he would have been if that trigger hadn't happened. And basically she was like, I think every woman here was looking for the same thing. Like, I don't think it's shocking for me to be like, hi, I'm looking for a commitment at the end of this. And he took it as like, I have to get married immediately. And so she got a huge round of applause twice, because Jesse was like, well, do you think, what if you hadn't left, or, maybe you could have stayed or something? And she was like, I don't think I need to convince a man to love me. And the crowd went wild. What did you think of that moment?
I know. Well, but that's true. Like, none of us want to have to feel like we chase love.
Right.
We want to be loved.
Right.
Or be in love. And so I think there's also a little bit of the woman empowerment, like, you go, girl, like you tell it like it is.
I think that one was for all the women in the crowd. Just be like,
yeah, exactly. And again, I go back to the whole just dynamic of. So now Cindy is gonna feel empowered to do this, like, and she's like, and I don't chase, and if you love me, then you love me, and I want to hear it. But there's ways of getting that, and Cindy has to learn how to, I think, communicate that a little bit better. But like, to your point, I don't know in the end, like, would Cindy end up being his therapist, or would it take like a ton of work in couples therapy to really get to the place where they could be? It is a yin and yang. Like, it does take two. And sometimes when one is really good communicator and the other, it can really work. But when we have two people that don't have feelings, that's why I worry about the other one. Anyway.
Well, and she acknowledged the lack of communication, because she says, and this got a huge round of applause too. And she goes, well, when Mel said, oh, you should have kept going in the game, she was like, I was in a different stadium. Like, acknowledging that their communication was just, they weren't hearing each other, and they weren't, to your point, one's coming from emotions, one's coming from analytical brain, and that just, it doesn't work. So that got a huge round of applause. So then Cindy and Mel reunited, and it started off sweet, and it got a little bit contentious. What did you think of that whole interaction?
Yeah, I mean, I think Mel has this like resentment, anger, like almost his internal dialogue. I could see it's like, I would have picked you.
Yeah, I felt that too.
Didn't you feel that?
He
like, if you just gave me
it
more.
felt like it was underneath the surface.
Because it was really you that I wanted. Like, that's what I was hearing, almost it's the
subliminal. Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Let me see if I took any notes from what he said. He was like, we never got that extra time to talk behind the scenes with no cameras, no mics, and just to talk. And she was like, I couldn't do that fantasy suite because I didn't think that if you couldn't lead what did I put? In the if you can't lead in the fantasy suite, she said, when you can't even lead in the relationship with me. And he was like, well, what you wanted was a proposal. And she was like, I think she looked around and was like, I feel like he was mansplaining to her what he thought she said. And she was like looking around, like, is anyone hearing this? Like, she had said earlier, I'm glad this was on tape, because it almost felt like a little bit of gaslighting on his part at this point. But I do think the underlying is what you said. It's like, he was like, girl, I would have picked you. We had to go in that bedroom. And I also am pretty sure that he and Peg boned. So
no, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like,
so he wanted to find out the physical,
because he was relying on that to see how he felt, because he didn't have enough information here.
Yeah.
So he needed to feel something else because he doesn't know how to do the other thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, in the end, it was like the love languages and the way that they were communicating. It was like two different languages almost, and so I don't fault either one of them. It's just like, had I been their therapist,
yes,
I would have said, like, are there different words that we could have used in this?
Yeah, I mean, and he got really, I don't know, I've really had a ick cringe reaction when he was like, this is how it works. First comes love, then comes marriage, then comes a baby and a baby carriage. And you're like, oh my God, are you brain dead? Like, it was so cringe. And she was just like looking around like, is anyone else here?
Yeah, that I know. I have no explaining of that.
Yeah, it was so cringe. Okay, so next Mel has to tell Peg that Cindy left. And I don't know if this was production, but this really dragged out. So it looked like she thought he was about to break up with her, because he kept saying, listen, I have to tell you something. Everything's changed.
Do you think from a production standpoint that was directed? Or
yes, and you never know, but they're like, they want to draw out that tension, but the audience is in on it. We already know she left. So I was like, get to it. You are torturing this poor girl.
The look on her face.
The shock on her face. Because she thought she was about to be broken up with. Yeah. And then literally she was the only one left. And she was like, oh.
But do you think she was like, oh, this is easy now?
I don't know. She didn't, I don't know what she was thinking. She definitely was like, when she went on to meet the sons and the best friend from college, she kept being like, they were like, are you in love? And she was like, I'm working on, I forget her exact words, but she was just like, not yet, but I hope that's in our future. She was very not over the top about it. She was like, things take time, just like he was. So in that perspective, they're a match.
That's what I'm saying. They're both like, kind of the casual thing.
Laissez-faire.
Yeah, but they're, because they're both scared. Anyway, going back to though, when there was this shift that went on energetically in his body when, he's like, it was almost like he had to get into a different state with Peg. Did you see that? I don't know. Like, it was always like, okay, so let's do this now. Like, it was almost like, okay, we lost that game, like in the football, we lost that game. Yeah. So, okay, new game on. Like, okay, now I'm like, I felt like, it's like, well, wait a second. Like, are you really in love with Peg? Or are you just, okay, no, this is what I got and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to win. Yeah. Like, it was almost that feeling. So again, that's why I just wonder about the true love he has, or the interaction between the two of them were so casual. But her reaction, I don't know, when he told her, she was like, oh, okay, like, it's like she wanted to be excited, but she's also like, why did she leave? Like, there was this internal dialogue, oh my God, like, what am I getting into? Like, maybe something happened, Well,
and then she did say, I believe it was later in the confessional, where she was like, it is concerning because if he didn't want a commitment with her, he does not want a commitment at all. I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember her words, but it's a question that you have. A, why did she leave? What am I not seeing? B, if he does he want a commitment with anyone? And C, do I want a commitment with him? I think was also the question, because it almost seemed to me like Peg she was into him for sure, but she wasn't there 100%. I don't believe. And that's okay. Neither was he. Right. But at the same time, it's almost like she won, and I think she was like, she's about to win. So she's like, well, let me make sure I want this first, which is a good thing.
Yeah. But there's also this sense of like sloppy seconds, right? Yeah,
no, I know.
Am I a sloppy second?
Yeah.
I think that's valid.
Would I have been chosen if she hadn't gone home?
So do you think?
I don't know. I still could argue that either way. What do you think? I think he would have chosen Cindy.
But I still maintain that he would have chosen Cindy. If he was allowed to not have to get engaged for marriage. Yeah. I think he would have been all in. Yeah. Yeah. But, this is, again, the reality shows, right? Like, there's this pressure. Well, I did get something from, oh my God, I'm blanking on her name. Christina. Oh my God,
okay.
Christina.
So remind them about Christina.
Because I want to say it at the end.
Okay.
Okay. So anything else about Peg, and then?
Well, I think the next thing I would say about, then in the show, then we go to, let's find out where they are now. So they go to the family and they meet the sons and the best friend from college, and they have a little interaction. And then I think the next thing we go to is them in studio. Like, let's see where they are now. Yeah. And that part was quite surprising to me. Oh, no, wait, we skipped a part. Sorry.
No, the actual proposal.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
On a knee.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that.
The body language was so interesting to me.
Okay, so then what happens, I'm sorry, I knew I skipped a part. Okay, so then what happens is they go and they're like, okay, let's decide to be together. And what does he do? He doesn't propose. What does he do? He gave her...
Oh, no, like it's almost like a promise ring.
A promise ring. Gag me with a spoon.
You didn't like that.
No one ever gives a ring unless it is the ring. Give me a necklace, give me some earrings, give me something cute for my house.
But see, now that I wonder if that was the show.
Probably, but it was awful. It was a bad decision.
To see the whole like down on the knee and the proposal, but without it really being maybe they got the ring already. They wanted to show it, and then did they show at the end the jeweler?
Yeah. So basically, the designer
advertising.
Yeah, the designer sponsored that shit for sure. There was some product placement for sure, but still, it's the ick. Like, okay, if it was me and I was Mel, I'd be like, I'm not giving her a promise ring. give me another piece of jewelry. Give me a beautiful necklace, some beautiful earrings to show that I care. But a promise ring is when you're 60, if I got a promise ring, I'd be like, we're done here.
Well, but see, this is part of what Christina said. There's definitely pressure.
Yeah. Okay. For the show. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just saying, okay, if it was real life,
but if it was
I'd be
real
like,
life, no, I totally agree.
Okay.
If
So
real life, yes.
Okay. So
100%.
Okay. So what does she say?
Well, first of all, I just want to mention that whole scene. It was almost as if they're like, okay, let's just get this over with. And they were almost like laughing through it.
Yeah.
And their bodies are like this far apart. There wasn't this like loving like pull. It was like, all right, let's go be friends. Let's go have fun. Let's go do this. And the ring, oh, that's cool. Like it was this like casual.
It was performative.
Yeah. And it was so clear to me that it was something either pressured from the producers just to do this. But I want to bring it to the real world because Mel's not wrong to not want to put a ring on it.
Absolutely understood.
Right? Like nobody should get engaged that fast. Nobody in the real world should get engaged that fast. I'm sorry.
Not in the real world. On the show, maybe.
On the show, but that's why we watch it. Thus, the kind of trash, kind of romance thing that we like to watch. But at least they were on the same page. Like I definitely saw that they're like, okay, like behind the scenes, they knew what they were going to do. Like, let's just date. We're cool.
Yes.
We'll put the ring on it. We'll give them the show and like, peace out. Like that's how it read. Right. So, okay. All right. So now.
Okay. So then we go to see them in the future. So what is it? 6 months later or something? So now we cut to, we're back in the studio and they're showing like what happened. Are you guys together? And Jesse's asking them questions. He almost missed it because she said something like, and that's why I fell in love with them. And then Jesse asked a new question. We're like, what? What'd you say? And then he said, and then Mel says like, yes, I'm in love with her, blah, blah, blah. So they both declare their love. And listen, their hopeless romantic in me was like, yay, I'm so happy for them. But I still think, I feel like it's the honeymoon phase and I don't know. Okay, is that what you thought too?
Yes.
Okay. I want them, they're cute.
No, they're cute. And I think they could also end up being really good friends. Even if it doesn't work out. Like it's that kind of, relationship. But Peg said twice in that little sit down, we're both not very good at feelings.
Yeah.
We don't do feelings well. Like she kept reiterating that. So
they're not connected. They're both emotionally unavailable.
Well, not only unavailable, but I think they both rule with the left brain. They don't know how to access and express it and communicate to one another. So the reason why they're drawn to each other is the fun and the adventure, which is the endorphins that are keep them going in the chemistry phase. But when it comes down to the real life and long term, how are they going to communicate hard stuff?
Yeah.
I almost said the other word, but I guess we can.
On YouTube, you're supposed to wait 15 minutes, I think, before you curse. So.
Oh, okay. We've been way, way longer.
Yeah, we're in the green zone right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, no, but I worry about them in the depth of things. And it's funny because Peg really longs for emotional intimacy. Like she said that throughout the entire episode. And I don't think she knows how. And like you and I have talked about, when you're unemotionally available, then you attract emotion. And so that's where they in the end, it was the same dynamic.
Yeah. And they had the same laissez-faire attitude about it. And so that makes sense that they would attract each other. But what happens when the honeymoon is over and it's time to go deep? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Well, because the endorphins of the fun is going to keep them going for a while. Yeah. But when that fades away, and I believe that they feel in love with one another, like everyone does in an infatuation phase. Like, when you get to that point, it's magic. The honeymoon is amazing. And it's not to take that away, but relationships are work and there's different phases in dating. And so when they get to that other phase, when that drug wears off and the fun isn't there, now what? And that's part of relationships, that's part of like, we're always doing the work. We always have to keep each other in check. Like at the retreat, I thought it was so awesome. I had a man who was a client from many, many years ago, and he got into this relationship and he came to the retreat after, oh my God, it's been almost over 10 years. Yeah. And he came because things have become stale. He's gotten complacent in the relationship, and he said he's gotten lazy, and he was really inspired again to get like re-energized, recharged, to put some effort into the relationship. Like you always have to, that fun that we see with Mel and Peg should always be there in relationships, but everyone kind of forgets when you get a little too comfortable.
Well, we were talking about that with your friend who is in a relationship, you know, married and everything. And she was like, what I love about listening to what you do, Kimmy, is that it reminds me, like, I need to flirt with my husband. I need to keep the spark alive. So everything that we talk about, especially that you talk about, can be applied not just to your current dating life, but to your current relationships as well. If you're in a long-term relationship or in a marriage, like keeping it happy and spicy and flirty and fun and planning things together, whether it's date nights or just being flirty around the house and not being so, oh, did you take out the trash? You know,
exactly. Or worse yet, you're sitting in front of the TV with sweats on, eating Chinese like every single day, and then you forget to dress up for each other, and date each other,
get cute.
That's important.
Absolutely.
So we'll see. To be continued. Going back to Mel and Peg, I'm super happy for them. Peg looked amazing. They, you know, everyone looked happy, you know, and I think that's real. It's just a matter of, will it last?
Yeah, I hope it does, but I don't know.
Oh my God. So like we're kind of sunsetting this show, but then there's going to be another one, and we have yet to know which one we're going to be doing. Any suggestions, by the way, please like put in the comments, write us, go to datingrealtalk.com and say, I think you should talk about this show. Yeah.
Let us know what shows you're interested in, or like any like questions that you have about love, relationships, dating, pop culture. I think I've thought of some good ones, but I want to see if you guys are watching them too. So Nobody Wants This.
Yes, we talked about that.
Yeah, so that's about two female podcasters who talk about single life. Interesting. And then one of the girls, the main girl, Kristen Bell, starts dating a rabbi, and all of the things that come along with that in the community. And then the sister, spoiler alert, but it's not too bad. I just want you to know, Kimmy starts dating her therapist.
Oh.
So, Kimmy.
Oh, I'm going to have so much to say about that. Okay. That could be a good one.
That could be a good one. So write us a comment. Let us know if you want that one. And then what are some other shows? There's all the Love Islands, Love is Blind. There'll be another Real
Married
Bachelor.
at First Sight. Yeah. We've heard some people want to talk about that.
I watched 4 episodes of that. I'm hooked. I like it.
And there's a lot of dynamics we can talk about in the real world.
Yes.
All these shows have it. It's just a matter of that. And, you know, we may even do a combination.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then maybe, you know, one time we can talk about one show, and another time another show. This was just really timely because then we were able to like follow it episodically.
Absolutely.
You know? So yeah.
I'm going to let you wrap up.
Oh, okay.
My dog is at the door. I'm going to go let her in because we had the nice dog walker take her out today. And I'll let you, Kimmy, say the final words. But thanks, everyone.
Okay. Well, again, this has been Dating Real Talk. I'm Kimmy Seltzer.
Allison Melody.
And Allison Melody. She's got to go get her dog. We are here every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, at least for now, unless that changes. Again, if you have any questions, put in the chat. You don't have to be here live, but we prefer you to be live. Go to datingrealtalk.com, submit your questions, join us live. It's always better when you're interacting. We are going to probably be combining where you ask questions, real dating questions, and I can answer it. And we're just kind of doing a mix of it. We've been getting so many kind messages from all of you. So please, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you want to know. So anyway, have a beautiful night, and we will talk next week. I have an amazing guest coming next week. You'll definitely want to tune in for more.